The question mark is a punctuation mark that indicates an interrogative clause or phrase in many languages. The question mark is not used for indirect questions. The question mark glyph is also often used in place of missing or unknown data. In Unicode, it is encoded at U+003F. Question mark history. Lintras attributes an early form of the modern question mark in Western language to Alcuin of York. Truss describes the punctus interrogative as of the late 8th century as a lightning flash, striking from right to left. This earliest question mark was a decoration of one of these dots, with the lightning flash perhaps meant to denote intonation, and perhaps associated with early musical notation like noims. Another possibility is that it was originally a tilde or a title O, as in tilde, one of many wavy or more or less slanted marks used in medieval texts for denoting things such as abbreviations, which would later become various diacritics ligatures. Over the next 3 centuries this pitch-defining element seems to have been forgotten, so that the Alcunesque stroke over dot sign is often seen indifferently at the end of clauses, whether they embody a question or not. In the early 13th century, when the growth of communities of scholars in Paris and other major cities led to an expansion and streamlining of the book production trade, punctuation was rationalized by assigning Alcuin's stroke over dot specifically to interrogatives. By this time the stroke was more sharply curved, and can easily be recognized as the modern question mark. It has also been suggested that the glyph derives from the Latin quaestio, meaning question, which was abbreviated during the Middle Ages to quo. The lowercase q was written above the lowercase o, and this mark was transformed into the modern symbol. However, evidence of the actual use of the q over o notation in medieval manuscripts is lacking. If anything, medieval forms of the upper component seem to be evolving towards the q shape rather than away from it, according to a 2011 discovery by a Cambridge manuscript expert. Syriac was the first language to use a punctuation mark to indicate an interrogative sentence. The Syriac question mark has the form of a vertical double dot. Scope. In English, the question mark typically occurs at the end of a sentence, where it replaces the full stop. However, it may also occur at the end of a clause or phrase, where it replaces the comma. Is it good in form, style, meaning, or showing off for all of them, not out of hubris. What did he have to be hubrid about? But from mood and nervousness. This is quite common in Spanish, where the use of bracketing question marks explicitly indicates the scope of interrogation. En el caso de que no puedas hallar con ellos, quieres hallar con nosotros. A question mark may also appear immediately after questionable data, such as dates. Genghis Khan. However, interrogative requests typically use a full stop rather than a question mark. Will you please forward my mail? In other languages and scripts, opening and closing question marks in Spanish, since the second edition of the Orthographia of the Royal Academy in 1754, interrogatives require both opening and closing question marks. An interrogative sentence, clause, or phrase begins with an inverted question mark and ends with the question mark, as in, ella me pregunta que acutora es. She asks me, what time is it? Question marks must always be matched, but to mark uncertainty rather than actual interrogation, omitting the opening one is allowed, although discouraged. Genghis Khan is better than Genghis Khan. The omission of the opening mark is common in informal writing, but is considered an error. The one exception is when the question mark is matched with an exclamation mark, as in quien te has creído que eres? Who do you think you are? Exclamation mark. Nonetheless, even here the Academy recommends matching punctuation, quien te has creído que eres? Exclamation mark. Other languages of Spain, Catalan and Galician also uses the inverted opening question mark, though usually only in long sentences or in cases which would otherwise be ambiguous. Basque only use one question mark. Armenian question mark. In Armenian, the question mark takes the form of an open circle and is placed over the last vowel of the questioned word. It is defined in Unicode at U+055E. Armenian question mark. Greek question mark. The Greek question mark appeared around the same time as the Latin one, in the 8th century. It was adopted by Church Slavonic and eventually settled on a form essentially similar to the Latin semicolon. In Unicode, it is separately encoded as U+037E, Greek question mark. But the similarity is so great that the code point canonically decomposes to U+003B, semicolon, making the marks identical in practice. Mirrored question mark. In Arabic and languages that use Arabic script such as Persian and Urdu, which are written from right to left, the question mark is mirrored right to left from the English question mark. In Unicode, two encodings are available, U+061F Arabic question mark and U+2E2E reverse question mark. Hebrew and Yiddish are also written right to left, but they use a question mark that appears on the page in the same orientation as the Roman alphabet question mark. Full-width question mark. The question mark is also used in modern writing in Chinese and Japanese, although it is not strictly necessary in either. Usually it is written as full-width form in Chinese and Japanese. In Unicode, U+FF1FFULLWIDTH question mark. In other scripts, some other scripts have a specific question mark, U+1367ETHIOPIC question mark, U+A60FVI question mark, U+2CFA Coptic Old Nubian direct question mark and U+2CFB Coptic Old Nubian indirect question mark. Stylistic variants. French usage must include a non-breaking space before the question mark, whereas in the English language orthography no space is allowed in front of the question mark. See also Plenkin. In typography, some stylistic variants and combinations are available. U+2047 double question mark, U+Fa56 small question mark, U+2048 question exclamation mark, U+2049 exclamation question mark, U+203 dinterrobang. Rhetorical question mark. The rhetorical question mark, a percontation point, was invented by Henry Denham in the 1580s and was used at the end of a rhetorical question. However, its use died out in the 17th century. It was later revived in modern-day society by Matt de Roberto. It was the reverse of an ordinary question mark, so that instead of the main opening pointing back into the sentence, it opened away from it. This character can be represented using the reverse question mark found in Unicode as U+2E2E. The percontation point is analogous to the irony mark, but these are very rarely seen. Bracketed question marks can be used for rhetorical questions, for example, "Oh, really?" in informal contexts such as subtitles. For an ironic or sarcastic statement, a bracketed exclamation mark may be used. "Oh, really?" The question mark can also be used as a meta sign to signal uncertainty regarding what precedes. It is usually put between brackets. The uncertainty may concern either a superficial or a deeper truth level. Computing. In computing, the question mark character is represented by ASCII code 63, and is located at Unicode code point U+003F. The full-width equivalent is located at Unicode code point U+FF1F. The HTML codes for this character are an AMP #X3F and an AMP 63. The question mark is often utilized as a wildcard character, a symbol that can be used to substitute for any other character or characters in a string. In particular, is used as a substitute for any one character as opposed to the asterisk, which can be used as a substitute for 0 or more characters in a string. The inverted question mark corresponds to Unicode code point 191, and can be accessed from the keyboard in Microsoft Windows on the default US layout by holding down the Alt key and typing either 168 or 0191 on the numeric keypad. In GNOME applications, it can be entered by typing the hexadecimal Unicode character while holding down both Ctrl and Shift, i.e., Ctrl plus Shift plus BF. In recent X386 and X.org incarnations of the X Windows system, it can be accessed as a composed sequence of two straight question marks, i.e., pressing an LT, compose and GT, question mark, yields. In the Mac OS, the key combo Option plus Shift plus produces an inverted question mark. The question mark is used in ASCII renderings of the International Phonetic Alphabet, such as SAMPA in place of the glottal stop symbol, and corresponds to Unicode code point U+0294 Latin letter glottal stop. In computer programming, the symbol has a special meaning in many programming languages. In C, descended languages is part of the operator, which is used to evaluate simple Boolean conditions. In C#2.0, the modifier is used to handle nullable data types and is the null coalescing operator. In the POSIX syntax for regular expressions, such as the one used in Perl and Python, stands for 0 or 1 instance of the previous sub-expression, i.e., an optional element. In certain implementations of the basic programming language, the character may be used as a shorthand for the print function. In others, is used to address a single byte memory location. In OCaml, the question mark precedes the label for an optional parameter. In Scheme, as a convention, symbol names ending in are used for predicates such as odd, null, and eq. Similarly, in Ruby, method names ending in are used for predicates. In Swift, a type followed by denotes an option type is also used in optional chaining, where if an option value is null, it ignores the following operations. In many web browsers and other computer programs, when converting text between encodings, it may not be possible to map some characters into the target character set. In this situation, it is common to replace each unmappable character with a question mark, inverted question mark, or the Unicode replacement character. This commonly occurs for apostrophes and quotation marks when they are written with software that uses its own proprietary non-standard code for these characters, such as Microsoft's Smart Quotes. The generic URL syntax allows for a query string to be appended to a resource location in a web address so that additional information can be passed to a script. The query mark, question mark, is used to indicate the start of a query string. A query string is usually made up of a number of different field value pairs, each separated by the ampersand symbol and amp as seen in this URL. http www example.com login php username equals test and amp password equals blank. Here a script on the page login PHP on the server www example.com is to provide a response to the query string containing the pairs username test and password blank. Games in algebraic chess notation denotes a bad moved and a blunder, a dubious move, and an interesting move. For details of all of the chess punctuations, see punctuation. In Scrabble, a question mark indicates a blank tile. Mathematics. In mathematics, commonly denotes Minkowski's question mark function. In equations, it can mean questioned as opposed to defined. U plus 225f questioned equal to U plus 2a7b less than with question mark above. U plus 2a7c greater than with question mark above. Medicine. A question mark is used in English medical notes to suggest a possible diagnosis. It facilitates the recording of a doctor's impressions regarding a patient's symptoms and signs. For example, for a patient presenting with left lower abdominal pain, a differential diagnosis might include diverticulitis.